Again, I want to separate this or differentiate it from severe depression, okay, which tends to be chemical based, very, very difficult to deal with. A lot of people don't make it through that. Depression is severe. It kills a lot of people because they take their own lives. So that's not what I'm talking about. However, as I said, a lot of what we do talk about this week is helpful for that. It can help to alleviate some of that. And I think, that's part of the goal here is to create stronger people. I want you to be stronger. I want you to feel like you're in a more dominant position and in better control of your life. But what do you do then when you're mildly depressed, when you're feeling down? Now, what a lot of people tend to do is medicate themselves. Now, they're not going to take the Xanax and things like that or anything more severe. They chemical themselves another way, right? They drink or they'll smoke pot or they'll eat, right? Comfort food. We do all of these things to help ourselves feel better. Now, that's not always a bad thing. It tends to be positioned that way, but that's not always a bad thing. There's a Proverbs or Ecclesiastes. It's an Old Testament book, but it talks about if you have a friend who's feeling bad or feeling down, to give them a drink. It also says that, give them wine, which makes the heart of man glad. Makes the heart of man glad. Obviously, we separate that from something like alcoholism, right? Or where you're completely dependent upon a substance just to get through life. But sometimes, sometimes you're feeling down and if you're like, you know what, I just want to go out, meet a buddy or meet a girlfriend and have a drink. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that, okay? That's not a crutch. That's just a temporary thing that you're doing to kind of boost, reset your mind and heart. I'm having a challenge right now with my refrigerator, okay? It's one of those side-by-side refrigerators. It has the digital readout, and it has a little beep thing that goes off, and all the display is all messed up, and that a little beep thing keeps going off, and we can't quite figure out just yet what the problem is. I just want to yank this thing, out of the wall. But, I think the thing that's interesting about it is that, we have our own little system in place and we have our own little alarms that go off. And, there's something about, what we will do to alleviate things. And we don't want to gut the whole system. And oftentimes it's just a very little thing that needs to be repaired. So what do? Well, in this case, I do what I commonly do with anything, and that is I'll pull the plug out of the wall for a while, then plug it back in and hopefully reset the system. Or maybe you're, on your computer and it's not acting right. What do? You just shut things down and you restart. Well, that's what going out and getting a drink sometimes can be. Or just pulling away for a little while, sit out on the porch, have a beer. Okay, it's just a way to relieve yourself, to keep yourself in the fight, to get some perspective, to reset your system. All right, so that's not really a crutch. It's actually a wise thing to do. It's good to do that. Again, the issue is being in control. The issue is being in the dominant position to where you can, enjoy a couple drinks or something like that and things don't get out of hand. It doesn't become a crutch. You don't get addicted, right? That's all part of it. The more you feel in control, the better off that you are. But that's commonly the way that we deal with feeling down or feeling upset or feeling put out or whatever. We feel like we've got to get away from things for a little bit to feel better. And again, I think that's wisdom. It's good. This is something I've got to do, which is to spend a little bit more time outside if I can, because there's something about the perspective. There's something about the sudden change. I deal with such a digital space, right? I deal with digits and screens and all of that. And so very unnatural. So it's, good to go and experience the contrast, which is nature. Or it's good to sometimes switch it up and do something that's more physical labor. So it may mean cleaning something or organizing something or whatever. Anything to switch up the pace to, again, try to reset my clock. It's good to get away from things for a little while. Sometimes it's people that you got to get away from. Now, if this is something that's spousal or a boyfriend or girlfriend or what have you, then make it clear. Don't just disappear. Don't just say you got to get away. No, you talk to that person. Let that person know what you're feeling and say, listen, I just need to get my head together. I need to work some things out. Then you go and do that. Don't leave them sitting there wondering if they're the problem. Because ultimately, it's not the person that is the problem. Ultimately, it's us. It's how we contend and how we deal with other people. But again, what we want to do is we want to get you out of this down state. We want to get you out of this mild depression that you're in. And again, there's any number of ways to do that, but you may need to separate yourself for a little bit. You may need to get away from things for a little bit in order to get your head right, to get your heart right, so that you can see things objectively. Because what often happens is because we let the emotions dominate, they distort our vision. In other words, the way that we look at our life, the way that we interpret what's happening to us right now. And that distortion is only going to aggravate your condition. It's only going to make you stay in that down state even longer. Okay, so sometimes, again, getting away can help to reset your clock, reset your chip, right? Get you back into mode where you can look at things objectively, or at least as objectively as you can, and emotions won't continue to distort things and only make it worse. Can you dig that? I hope you can.